Well, good afternoon and welcome to everyone joining our webinar. Thank you for taking the time to join us. We know October is always a particularly busy month, so we appreciate that you're a part of this important conversation today. If you haven't met me before, my name is Karen Britton and I'm the Executive Officer for 100 Women. It's an absolute pleasure to chat with you all today. And I plan to make this quite a relaxed interview. We will see where the session takes us, as it's the first of what we hope will be a series of webinars from 2020 for 2023, featuring updates from many of our past grant recipients that support wonderful international projects. So before I introduce you to the Forever Projects team, I'd like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land where I'm based here in Perth, and for many of the people on this call, which is the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. Mark, I think you're based in Eora land with the Gadigal people?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're acknowledging them as well. We're acknowledging their continued connection to the country and recognise that the culture is alive and their cultures continue, as they have before we were here, and will continue as one of the oldest cultures in the world. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present, and their special place in the community, and we recognise the emerging youth coming through and extend that to other Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander people present here today. For anyone joining the call that are not familiar with the way that 100 Women operates, 100 Women is a volunteer-led philanthropic giving circle that's based in Perth, and we have a dual purpose. One is to build a network of everyday philanthropists, and the second is to use our members' collective giving to fund grassroots initiatives and empower disadvantaged girls and women around the world. 100% of our donations and member funding go towards our grant recipients. And in August this year, we reached 1 million in collective giving, which is just an amazing benchmark and feat and milestone for us. Together, we've funded 29 projects in 9 short years, and we've enabled almost 16,000 women and girls to receive support in the critical areas of health, safety, education, and economic opportunity.
Wow.
So I am beyond excited to be joined by the founder of Forever Projects, Mark Domkins, and his amazing team that you're seeing here on the screen. I'll tell you a little bit more about Mark and the team shortly, but I just wanted to note that it's particularly wonderful to have this webinar today as we are crossing oceans and combining cultures. In fact, we have wonderful individuals from the Forever Projects team that are calling in from UK and Tanzania, and Mark's in Sydney, and we're here in Perth. It's a truly global webinar, this one. It's great. And in the spirit of learning and in sharing, I thought it would be nice to learn the local Swahili greeting, which Mark told me is Habari Yako. Is that right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So that means, what is your news today? What's up? Yeah? So I encourage our members to write that in the chat feed to welcome our wonderful guests from Tanzania if you get a chance. So the wonderful Forever Projects team, which includes people in Australia and the UK, from the management and fundraising side, and there are Forever Projects local partners in Tanzania and some of the team from Forever Angels as well. So just welcoming Amy Hathaway, founder and director. Are you there? Hi. And welcoming Liz Savage, the Maisha Matters director. And that means that's a Swahili name of what we've been funding. That's right. Hassan Ali, welcome. He's a community development officer. And Victoria Kweka and Sophia Joseph. So thanks everyone for joining us. And I also wanted to mention that some of the members of Forever Projects monthly giving community have joined as part of their AGM, which Mark told me is annual giving meeting rather than annual general meeting. I like that. And Mark will talk more about the critical role that they play in this work shortly. So from 100 Women's community, we're of course joined by lovely 100 Women members. Thank you so much for your support today. This webinar came off the back of a member survey earlier this year, where a lot of our members were saying we'd love to see what's happening with these grant recipients that have received funding. So this is our chance to see the lasting impact that these grant funds are making. We're also joined by some of our amazing volunteers. So I wanted to do a quick shout out to a few of them today. Our 100 Women board member, Gail Milne, is on the call. Hi, Gail. And our founding member and chair of the grant committee, Christy Rodwell, who's been running our grants process for the last 9 years. And another wonderful grant chair, Michelle Emmett. The two of them are a powerhouse here at 100 Women. So welcome to you all as well. And we've got some other great volunteers on the call, so thank you. I think after almost 3 years of webinars, we're all pretty accustomed to the housekeeping of video calls, right? But business up top, PJs down the bottom, something like that. But essentially, this is how today is going to run. We've received some great questions via Slido, so thank you to those that have put their thoughts and queries forward. I'll run through these questions to Mark and his team, and we might throw in a video or two so that you can get a strong sense of what this amazing team have been doing on the ground. So your video and microphone should be turned off so that you can relax, have a wine or a cuppa, and listen to the updates from the Forever Projects team. But I do want to encourage you to add in any questions to that chat box that's there on the screen. And I'll try and get to those questions throughout the session as well. So hopefully we'll finish up by about 6:30 today and go from there. Okay, so I'd now like to introduce you to Mark, and here's a quick bio for you. So in 2010, Mark and his wife Anna moved with their 2 very young children to Tanzania, where they lived on the southern slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro until 2013. That must have been amazing, Mark. You'll have to tell us about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The couple have a background in education, and they've both worked at International School Moshi, Mark teaching maths and Anna serving as a school counsellor and a boarding parent. During their years working there, they fostered and eventually adopted 3 beautiful children who had no other option for a family of their own. Soon after their fostering process began, the organisation Mark and Anna adopted through, which is Forever Angels, they began piloting an innovative 12-month project that would reach women before crisis point, helping them break the cycle of poverty to create a self-sustaining future. So since moving home to Australia in 2013, Mark and Anna founded a not-for-profit, Forever Projects, to raise funds and awareness for this remarkable project as it scales. And the Forever Projects community has made this story their own. And the funds raised have helped the Forever Angels team franchise this model and scale it to 5 other Tanzanian cities through mission-aligned impact partners. And it's amazing what you've done. To date, 1,288 women and 1,663 babies have benefited. That, I'm going to give you a clap right here, because that's really, really powerful stuff. So well done to you all. 100 Women are proud to join this story and contribute to the acceleration of their important work. Welcome, Mark, and your team.
Thank you so much. It's it's hearing all that back. I'm having flashbacks, Amy, to that day we left the baby home in 2010, and Josephine and Lillian, who are 2 of the managers who are joining us on the call as well, were there that day in 2010. So for us all to be here 12 years later together on a Zoom call talking about that impact is one of those moments you really pinch yourself, and we didn't expect any of this to happen, did we?
Oh, that's wonderful. So question 1, let's get into it. Last year, the members of 100 Women voted for your project, and it was a very strong voting for you. I still remember the awe in the room at the gala, and as we watched that video, just people were crying left, right, and centre. It's a very powerful story. So, can you talk through where that 40,000 went?
Sure.
And how it was funded?
Love to. Yeah, and as much as possible, I'll be passing on questions to the amazing local team on the ground that are doing this work. So the Forever Angels team, we're so grateful for your joining us today. As Karen was saying, the 12-month project that Amy and her team innovated starts with breaking the cycle of poverty. So if you've got a mother who's unable to lactate, unable to feed her child, or tragically she's passed away and another caregiver has stepped in to care for that infant, nutrition is the most important thing that's critical for that child, because the alternatives to nutrition are just not affordable. And so the Forever Angels team provide that nutrition And then, so a huge part of the funding that we'd received went into the nutrition for these children. In a minute, the team will share some stories about that. And then the other component was the crisis support that's provided to the caregivers to immediately improve their quality of life. But the really innovative part of the project, which you'll hear about, is the part where the businesses are created by the caregivers in the project, so that it's not just a handout, it becomes a hand up. And so the $40,000 was allocated to those three kind of pillars of the project: so nutrition, crisis support, and income creation through business setups. And I'll pass it over to the team. I know Liz and the team have got some stories to share about. I think, you know, the best way to kind of share about this impact is through storytelling, and who better to tell it than the team walking alongside the women in the project. So Liz and Amy, did you want to divvy up some stories here to tell? With I'm sure you've already preloaded these stories.
Yeah, we maybe start with some that start from the beginning of the story with the nutrition and crisis support. Who was doing Mama Godfrey? Sorry, shouting. Hello, I'm Josephine, Managing Director of Forever Angels. I'm going to talk about Godfrey, baby Godfrey. The mom is very young. She's 19 years old, and she has gone through a lot. When she came here, she was very devastated, crying young girl, and just feeling like she has lost hope. Having this baby who is very malnourished. Godfrey is 1.5 years old when we received him. He only weighed 5 kilos, and he has cerebral palsy. And this mom had lost her husband when she gave birth to Godfrey, and her husband died. And then she went back to her sister, who is the only sister she had, and the sister chased her away because she was like, in our family, we don't have disabled babies. We don't treat people who have an illness in their bodies. So you better go away. This is a curse. So she went back on the streets, just roaming around. And then fortunately, she found this good Samaritan who got her in her house and started just giving some good advice to her and just encouraging her and giving her hope. But the family life in that house was not good, because the Good Samaritan also had a poor life of living. So she was still struggling, selling potatoes at the market. One day they get money, they buy food. One day they sleep without money, and Godfrey's health started deteriorating. So she went to a hospital, and they advised her to come to Forever Angels. This is how we met Godfrey. Godfrey came here, and before we started giving the crises that we gave to them, we started again counseling the mom, because she was just feeling like she wants to die and she doesn't want the baby anymore. So we started counseling the mom, and the mom was like, okay, I'm getting there, because she stopped using her medicine and said, I'm not going to take my medicine because I just want to die. I will kill my baby so that I don't have to undergo all this stress that I'm going through. So we talked to her, we gave her hope, we gave her advice, and we told her Godfrey is going to gain weight once you just concentrate on the baby and just forget about everything that you have gone through. But amazingly, within 1-2 months, Godfrey's gained weight. From 5 kilos, now he's going to 7 kilos, which is good. And the mom is now happy and feeling very blessed with the baby, and not just like having to say, I want to die, I want to die. She's a happy mom. When she comes here every Tuesday, we see her. She has a smile on her face, and the baby is doing good. He has gained weight. He's healthy and smiling all through. So Mama Godfrey has gained hope through this, what we are providing for them. And we provide for him only peanut butter because he's big for milk age, and food also, just to keep her going. In the last month, we provided for her, we set for her up a business setup of a small shop, and now it's doing really good. And she has started to save with us money just to keep on and to get money for the next rent, so she doesn't have to depend on people. So that's how Godfrey, that's where Godfrey is now. And we are still hoping for a better future for Godfrey. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
And there's so many beautiful stories just like hers, isn't there? And that's what the magic of what you're all doing over there. There's so much that is so many lives are changing, and that ripple effect is happening right there in front of us. It's a really enlightening thing to hear about. So congratulations to you all, and I know that money is so well spent by you all. So what are some of the business initiatives that these Tanzanian women have been able to establish? Can you share a success story?
Yeah, I thought these might be obviously up to you, but I Shakuru's story obviously always sticks with me. But did you want to share, did someone want to share her story or a story like hers that is like that ongoing ripple?
Yeah,
Yes.
we have some more recent ones as well. Go ahead, Hassan. I can.
Hi everyone, I'm Hassan.
Hey, Hassan. Hey, Hassan.
Today I'm going to give you a story. Hello, to give you a story about Mama Elia. We have a young lady called Mama Elia Baida. That mama, she's HIV positive, and life was so hard to her because she has 4 kids to look after, and husband ran away when she has a pregnancy of 4 months. And life was not easy. She was struggling a lot to look after the kids, paying all the bills, buying food, medicine, etc. But by then she had no hope of how she's going to survive, how she's going to make sure all these needs are available. So she met with one of mom who is getting support from us. So she directed us to us to say that you can go to Forever Angels. I'm sure they will support you, and everything will be fine, because same as that mama was the same as her, because the husband was running away and we helped her. So Mama Elia, she delivered the baby. The baby was only 3 kilos, but she had no milk. And by then she had like a cancer on her boobs, so she couldn't be able to breastfeed. So she came to us, we gave her formula milk. We started to use the formula milk, and by then she gave us a story about her story, how she lived in the house. So we went to visit, and we see life was very, very hard for her. So by then she said, I want you to take my babies here to Forever Angels, so me, I can go around to work to look for the jobs so that I can get something. We said, no, we don't need to give our babies here, so we can do something to make sure that you are going to have a successful life. So she said, yes, whatever you can tell me is fine. So we have decided to give her training. We gave her hope. We training her how to do small businesses. Then she decided to do a charcoal business. So we set up business of selling charcoal. Within 3 months of selling charcoal, she come out and said, wow, now my life has changed, because I was eating only 1 meal per day, but now I've improved from 1 meal to 2nd meal. So I said, wow, that is nice. So what else do you think you can do from that business? She said, what is my goal is I want to buy my own house. Before, she was she had no house. She was just rent for someone's house and she has to pay. But she said, until when I'm going to pay the rent for that person, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to build my own house, because I have a lot of kids to look after me. So she started to save with us, saving a lot every week. She comes on my Shamata's session. She comes with money, 10,000 every week. She come with the money. But then where she were living, the toilet was very bad. She had no toilet. Children were pooing by digging the hole, and they are pooing there because the toilet was not there. But she managed to build up a toilet. She finds someone. She managed to build up a toilet. Now they have nice toilet where they live. But since then, she started to save more, and now she built up a house. And as I tell you, like last week, she called me. She said she's putting up the roof. She's managed to put up the roof on. So soon she's going to move in. It's only because of the business that we have set with her, and it was just charcoal. So that is the story of that mama, and inspiring me a lot, because she's doing well.
So good.
She's come from very far until where she is now.
Wow.
And I love that last piece where you're talking about the roof, because really that's symbolic of home, you know, of warmth, of love, of community. So very symbolic for that to be that next step for her in her journey onwards. So that's a really lovely story. Thank you for sharing that with us, Hossein. So
right, thank you.
do we have a little video maybe to show next?
Yeah, so I thought just to mix it up, obviously everyone's with Zoom, it's nice to mix it up. So we've got a couple of videos that we'll share, just some nice ones, but that might also help people get a sense visually of some of the stories that Josephine and Hassan has shared. So this is Mama Deborah's story. So I'll just share my screen and play that. Hopefully you can all see this. Give me a thumbs up if you can. All good. All right. So I'll go big and play. Can everyone hear it okay? Okay. My AirPods in, sorry. 1 second. Sorry about this. Can you hear it? Whoop. Have it now? I'll go back to slide, sorry.
Naitwa Mama Debora. Kwa kweli nilijisikia amani na nilijisikia vizuri, na hapo nikajua mtoto wangu atapona, hatakufa kwa njaa. Maana hata maziwa yale nishakunywa siku hiyo hapo, tulifika akasinzia usingizi mzito, maana alikuwa halali. Niliona mimi hakika nimepewa. Kuna mama mmoja mjane ambaye alifiwa na mwanae ghafla, ana watoto cha mahindi, alafu nikanunua na kisado cha begani. Kwa hiyo hata heshima katika jamii, na nikashukuru sana, nikajua kwa kweli
So hopefully that gives you a bit of a visual of every story is you've got our local team members out in the village. Yeah, it's one family at a time, but it's amazing work.
I love that. It's one of many videos, Mark, that you said that you're building regularly to be able to give back to your donors and your stakeholders and your community that you support, so that they can regularly see these updates. It's just well done. And I'm really going to struggle not to cry through this webinar, I've decided. Every time I see things like this, it's like, oh, it's so powerful. So
yeah, and I think that's just before you go on too, I think, Karen, like that's what the unique thing that we've tried to build without the partnership input with Forever Projects and Forever Angels and the other local partners, is that we feel like what we can do is like try and do our best to tell the stories of the amazing work that the local teams are doing, and then try and put those stories in front of audiences and members like yours that really care about these projects. But what we can't do is the amazing work that Josephine and Stan and Amy and Liz will talk about today. So I feel like there's a really lovely partnership with Forever Projects and the local partners where everyone's leaning into what they can do best to have a good outcome for the women and the children in the project. Yeah. So
indeed.
Yeah.
Well done. So can you talk to us about the biggest impact as a result of the grant?
Yeah, I thought Amy, as the director of the overall Maisha Matters project, would be really well positioned to talk about what $40,000 worth of runway does for how you feel. So Amy, I'll let you answer this one.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that sort of grant is just incredible. It gives us basically, you know, that injection of funding allows us to continue the work. It means that every time a new family comes to the gate with a baby whose mum has died, we can keep saying yes. There was a time just a couple of years ago where our funds were running so low that babies were brought to the gate, and literally they were starving, they were going to die, and we just didn't have the ongoing funding to be able to keep saying yes. In fact, there was a time where we actually had to say, we're going to stop new admissions for a while until we get more funding. And so, yeah, on the ground, they were saying no. And I was in England at the time, then I came out for a trip. And there was someone came to the gate one day. I went to the gate and there was a mum with a very, very sick baby, like, you know, basically breathing its last breaths. And I brought the grandmother in with the baby and said to my team, you know, we need to admit this baby. And they said, we're not admitting any children at the moment. You told us we have no funds. And I was like, yeah, but this one's going to die, guys. And they said, yeah, all of them are going to die, Amy. The ones last week we said no to, and the ones the week before. And I was like, okay, this, like, we don't say no anymore. Like, you know, the difference between having a grant like what you gave us is life, basically. It means that we can just keep saying yes. You know, these babies are so vulnerable, and without the support, which we are the only charity giving the support in Tanzania, then yeah, it's the difference between life and death. So it just gave my team the confidence to be able to keep saying yes, to keep admitting the babies onto the program, keep supporting the women to set up in business. And you know, we don't really see it as a handout at all. I've just done a grant proposal for somebody and they asked me why we're giving these crisis items, and it's a handout, and we need to, you know, we need to not do that. It's not sustainable. But the whole package encompasses not a handout at all, but they're all building blocks to make this holistic program. You know, the milk first and the crisis support basically enables the family to just take a breath and know that this baby's not going to die tomorrow, and that the other children will have food on their plates this evening. And once you've got them onto that level of in no way richness, but just simply surviving, but without the stress, then you can help them with a business, which, yes, empowers them to basically dig their family out of poverty. And some do remarkably well. They start off with very, very small businesses, and the next thing you know, they've built a hair salon, or they've built a house, or they've done something incredible. And others, you know, they continue to just have the business that we set them up, and it's very small scale, but it's keeping them alive. And yeah, it gave my team the confidence to keep saying yes, to know that what we're doing is working, that there are people behind us. And it also allowed us to grow. So we scaled further to our fifth partner in Dar es Salaam, which was Kulia Villages. And they started last year doing the Maisha Matters program. So yeah, across Tanzania now we've got 5 very like-minded NGOs all running the program. And yeah, actually, Mark's statistics are 6 babies out of date. So there's actually 1,669 children. We must have got 6 since you last checked the spreadsheet.
I'm sorry. So Sophia's obviously updated.
So yeah, 1,669 babies are alive because of the program. So, you know, the biggest impact is literally being able to keep saying yes. And to me, that's just huge.
Yeah. And so Amy, are you achieving that in terms of being able to say yes to everyone that comes to your door?
We are currently. So we haven't turned any babies away recently, guys, have we? No, we do, and it's hard though. You know, it is really hard. Like my full-time job is fundraising, and whether that's, you know, holding little cake sales, or I've been this morning before I've come to you guys, I've been doing a school assembly to try and get support. So it's a constant battle to get the running costs, to be honest. But yeah, it's a battle that I'll continue to fight, because you can just see the good that it does, and it's literally saving lives.
Yeah, we've just had a lovely comment from Gail saying, I love the fact that you encompass a whole start to finish program that ends with being empowered with their own business and building houses. You're amazing. And from Christy, it's a totally self-sufficient model that puts the women in charge of their lives. It also helps break the poverty cycle for the next generation. So we're all loving what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So perhaps another individual story to share.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So did you want to jump in, Lillian? Did you?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
I have a lot to tell, but I
Lillian never stops talking. So
I will specifically talk about Bibi Anastasia and Felista. grandmother. Bibi means grandmother. Sorry, guys. So we met this grandma 5 months ago when her daughter has just died, and the father to the twins had just been sentenced to jail due to theft accusations from his ex-boss. So this baby came to us, this grandma came to us when she first still sad for losing her daughter. Second, the in-law being sentenced to jail. Third, she's left with the twin, of which one of them was only 2 kilos and the other one was 1 kilo. So she was in a situation that if any of us was in that situation, I don't know how we would have reacted. But for her, she still had that little hope after being told that there's somewhere you can go and get help. You can get milk to feed your babies. So she came at least with that small hope in her heart. We met her, we spoke to her, and to be honest, I was like trying to put myself in her shoes without telling her anything, but I was surprised with the hope she had and the confidence, and she believed that because she's here, her grandchildren are safe. So we enrolled her in the program, and considering she's coming from very far, like she has to travel 1 to 2 hours maybe from where she's yeah, she walks for almost 2 kilometers to get the bus to where Forever Angels is. And again, in the bus, she takes like 1 hour to reach to Forever Angels. And this baby has been coming every Tuesday with her twins. And what made us happy and proud of what we are doing, these twins are now doing very well. And after talking to the baby, we gave her more courage and few examples from the previous babies that we had held. So she gained courage and she was very happy, and she has done a great job. Now the twins are doing very fine. We are just waiting a little bit for the babies to be on a solid foot before we set a small business, so she's able to keep the twins in a good health. So yeah.
I love that. And I'm wondering, like, you know, once the babies are supported and they're able to grow a little, is there still, it sounds like there's still that support network that continues through them having their own opportunity to run businesses. Do they connect with each other after having met each other through your program?
Yeah, I think that's one of the really lovely, like, oh, sorry, Lillian, really lovely adult things that happened. Is the friendships gained and the community support that was built up. Actually, that was never part of our proposal or our thinking, but you know, there's very often 2 or 3 children who all have cleft palates, or 2 or 3 children who all have hydrocephalus or cerebral palsy, or whose husbands have run away, or and so they make their own little network groups of really supportive friendships. You know, a lot of these women are stigmatized and thrown out of their villages. Their families have deserted them as well. And yeah, that peer support is, you know, we have groups online, Zoom groups. I have a deaf child, so I'm part of a deaf community. There just isn't that in Tanzania, really. And so just by chance, those were built up within the Maisha Matters program, which has been so important for some of these families.
And have you seen any of these women then come back into your program to support other women with their young babies?
Yes, we have, not necessarily financially, but they would come just to encourage others. And like last week, was it last week when Bibi Levania came? Yeah, one of the grandmothers, she came last week when it was our grandmother's first birthday. And yeah, she came back and she was so thankful and encouraging others, like to keep on doing what they're doing, to keep on coming here, to keep like on following what we are training them on, the basics training that we are giving them. So yeah, we have, not necessarily financially, but sharing what they know. Some also come to share the skills they have with the others. Some would come and encourage others on businesses. So yeah, they do come.
Because for many of these women, it could have been, you know, like it would have been a very traumatic period of time for them. And it's, you know, it's very, very clear through a lot of the programs that we support that the peer support network of women talking to women that have been through similar journeys is a really powerful connector. So it's lovely to see that these women are supporting each other in all ways, shapes and forms. It's something that we see across many different platforms. So it's really nice to see.
I was going to say, so our teaching model that we use for training in the preventative health thing, it very much uses the women within the group to help pass the messages on, because that is so much more powerful. You know, there's a lot of expertise in the team, but it's so much more powerful for the women to hear about business ideas, successful or not, and about health from other women, sort of like from their own village or from that they've got to know within the group. So I think people are used to that as a model and enjoy sharing with other people there as well. And one of the ones that Mark mentioned earlier, because we're starting to look at whether we can do apprenticeships, one of our early ones that we supported. Now, what number was Shakura? Was she number 6 or something?
I think she was at 11.
11, very early on. So she came to us with a very young child, but she could sew already and was set up with a sewing business. And from there, she built that up herself very successfully. She could do her own designs. Started to do batik with a little help from us a couple of years later. But she's also a very good self-made teacher. During COVID, she made all the masks for all of our staff and the women in the group, and was also teaching other women how to make masks. So from that, we're looking at her as an example of how we can actually, she's done a course in how to teach other people things so that she can actually have some other skills around teaching. And looking at how we can actually link her up with other women in the group to teach that. And just looking at what other businesses we have that potentially could do the same, such as hair salons, or even just stalls, a good stall, and learning how to do sort of that and how we can do that, because the women are great at teaching each other.
Oh, it's so true. That's so true. And lifting each other up as well.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know, you know, one of the things that 100 Women see quite a lot with our grant recipients is that we're kind of like a stepping stone into stronger, lasting partnerships with it might be corporates or with government funding. We'd love to know kind of how you're traveling, if you've had any kind of further interest since receiving our grant, and kind of, you know, how that journey is going along for you in terms of that sustainability piece.
Yeah, I think on that side, Karen, as I think we were talking about before the call, like what we're finding over time is that as the time goes on with the project and the members of the Forever Projects community who are giving, raising funds or you know, leveraging the network, that net is growing, and so you never know then who are the people that are in that community, and so we're starting to see, I think, the impact of that. So not necessarily yet someone's come up and said, hey, I heard about you through 100 Women, but we're noticing that the way we probably got to this point was through that networking and relationships and trust building through association. One of the things I think that was really been cemented through the grant from 100 Women is the idea that there are groups of people that have an aligned, like, care for a particular mission and come together to kind of do something together that alone they couldn't do. And so one of the big things we'll talk about later in the call is it's really given us an idea to really scale up our monthly giving community at Forever Projects, because as Amy shared really powerfully before, if we can build a community of individuals at Forever Projects who, whether it's $30, $50, $100 a month, whatever they can give, as an individual amount, that might not go very far, but as a collective, it's quite impactful. And what it provides this team is reliable, unrestricted income to continue this remarkable project. And so I think, I don't know if that's answering your question completely, but it's the model of what you're doing, and us trying to find other communities like that can show up in a reliable ways is really important.
And tell us about your Kilimanjaro project. What's that?
Well, I think Liz should tell us about Kilimanjaro, because like, maybe I'll just give you a brief intro, then Liz can talk about it. So it's people challenging themselves to ease the challenges of the women in the project. And so obviously Kilimanjaro is the highest mountain in Tanzania, highest freestanding mountain in the world. And so 6,000 meters high, 220 kilometers around the base, 62 kilometers to hike it. And so our community challenges themselves in October with some physical challenge related to the stats of Kilimanjaro, and then invite their community to support by donations. And to date, we've raised nearly $560,000 in 3-4 years through the campaign. It started just with one guy in our town climbing a local mountain 20 times in a week, and then that's just been the ripple that started the waterfall. And Liz decided this year she'd do something pretty special for Watch Kilimanjaro. And I think, Liz, you're still number one on our leaderboard. Is that correct in terms of funds raised? So yeah, what did you do, Liz?
Well, previously I've done swimming, and during COVID I ran up and down my stairs. I'm not very good with physical things, but I do love to dance. So as many people here know, so I decided I was going to dance for 6 hours, an hour for each kilometer, up Mount Kilimanjaro in people's kitchens in the UK. So I danced my way through the decades and posted bits on Facebook as I went, encouraging people to join in as well. We had some video from here of the staff dancing, videos of other people dancing in their homes. I'm not a great dancer, I'll say. I just enjoy it, and this is the reason why I'm also quite brightly coloured here. I don't blend into the background here anyway, but I'm particularly bright looking at the moment. But yeah, but it was sort of, and it sort of gained more momentum than I thought, because people started putting in requests for what I could dance to, and paying for me to dance to particular things. And as it got towards the end, it just sort of like it gained more momentum than I thought. I don't know what it is in dollars. It was £1,200 in the end.
Great. You should have done it on TikTok. Got the
become a sensation. Yeah, post now we got.
Yeah, you would have been mainstreaming.
But it's a great way. People can do all sorts of things, can't they, Mark? I mean, it's sort of like a lot of it's physical challenges, but you've got people this year doing sort of reading and singing, and I think it's whatever people feel they can do, whatever is a challenge for them. And I think that's got a good thing about it. It's sort of like, for many that's doing something physical, but for others it's sort of like just thinking, well, it would be a challenge for me to learn how to do something. That's going to be my challenge, and that captures the imagination of other people. So yeah, but it goes on the whole of October.
I've just been to my daughter's deaf school this morning to do an assembly to 200 children about they're just about to start it, and some are doing reading challenges, and some are teaching sign language to different communities, and some are running, and some are in wheelchairs, and so they're doing wheelchair races, and some are swim. There's all different things going on. So yeah.
So cool.
And it runs for the whole of October, so there's still time for many of your members to join in.
Right.
Yeah.
You can sign up at any point during the month.
Yeah. And I was thinking, actually, Karen, I mean, this has given me an idea for thinking about ways to get your members to do things together in a way that doesn't. The great thing about it is that, especially for young people, they can access this campaign by just showing up and being brave and generous with a challenge, and it's their network that gives, and it's a great way to help them feel quite powerful as young people in generating income for the project. And so it could be a cool thing to create. We've got corporates and school communities creating teams, so it could be like 100 women.
Little 100 women team.
100 women Kilimanjaro team 2023. So we'll talk after the call.
Let's look into it.
Yeah.
So perhaps now maybe the video with Hassan. Should we play that through?
I will. I'll put that up 1 second. And I've given you a shameless plug there, Liz, with the a link to your challenge there in the chat. I'll take these out so you can all hear. All right, this is Hassan, a life in the day of Hassan, and this could be any one of the local teams, obviously.
My name is Hassan. It's 60 years now since I've started work here at Forever Angels. My job is community development officer and also driver. We are at Mama Zena's house. For now, Mama Zena, we had a discussion about the business, and she wanted to sell kibanda. It's like a small stock of vegetables. So today we wanted to go and see the area, the environment, how much we'll pay to talk with the Mwenyekitis, the street leader, to see how we can build our kibanda there and make it hard to do a business. Mama Dimka has 4 boys. When she was young, she had a bicycle accident, so she affected her chest. So now she can't do a big, like, heavy things, like heavy businesses, carrying bucket of jaga and walking on the street for selling it. So we are here at Pioneer Sears' house. He's very sick. It's almost a week now. He's vomiting in the area. So now we are going to drive her to the hospital, and we'll talk more about the business next week. Mama Yusuf is Kibanda. Mama Yusuf is one of our successful businesswomen. And we set up with Kibanda selling vegetables and fruits. And she's doing really good. So we're just stopping here and checking how she's doing. Yeah, I feel lucky to be in Tanzania and also to be at Forever Project because I'm saving life for my Tanzanian people. So I feel good.
So good. Superman.
Oh, there we go. The tears are coming. Oh, I knew it. I knew it. Well done, Hassan. It's a beautiful story.
He's embarrassed.
So can you talk us through any other projects that has been initiated under Forever Projects banner?
Well, yeah, this one, I thought, Amy, it would be great to share. This is not under the Forever Projects banner, but it's probably important to talk about how each of the local partners we're funding are doing this 12-month project that in Swahili is called Maisha Matters. But they all had a primary, I guess, kind of project that they'd done before they started the Maisha Matters project. And in Forever Angels' case, it was a baby home for children that had been abandoned. And that's how we came into contact with Amy and Forever Angels, adopting our children from there. But the thing we loved about Forever Angels and why we chose to adopt from there was because Amy's vision from the start was that her happiest day would be when they could close the doors on the orphanage because, you know, there was no more need for a place for abandoned children. And even though they're not at that stage, they're at a pretty exciting stage in the evolution. So Amy, do you want to share a bit about what's happening with Forever Angels?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, we opened in 2006, so we're in our 16th year now. And in that time, we've cared for 439 orphaned and abandoned babies. Our goal has always ever been to be an interim care. We're kind of an orphanage that doesn't believe in orphanages. We believe in family, and we want all of every child to grow up in a loving home. We have a really, really good success rate. So 80% of our children have gone home to biological family or been adopted into new families. And the Maisha Matters program did start ad hoc by accident, basically. It was, you know, one mother who died and a grandmother who brought her baby to us because that was the knee-jerk reaction from social services was a mother dies in childbirth, the grandmother goes to social welfare for support, and she phoned us, basically. And this grandmother was crying and she was so sad to leave her baby. She didn't want to leave her baby with us. And I said, you know, what do you need to care for your baby at home? Like, we don't want to take this your granddaughter. What do you need? And she said, it's just milk. Like, we can't afford milk. You know, the average tin of formula milk costs, I don't know what it is in Australian dollars, Mark, but £6 here in the UK, which is, you know, more than basically a weekly income for a family, and they would need 2 a week to sustain a child. So when she told me it was just milk, we were like, well, that's what we need to do then. So, you know, that's how the Maisha Matters program started, just giving milk, and then the education part built, and then the crisis support. And since Maisha Matters, Forever Angels, the baby home, has decreased in its number by huge amounts. So we used to have around 60 to 65 babies at any time. And now it's more like 25 to 30. We've halved, because any baby that has a loving relative stays at home with that loving relative. It never ever needs to come to us. And to us, that's so important, is that we're enabling families to stay together rather than breaking them up. And sadly, the baby home does still exist, because we still have abandoned babies. We still have cases where, you know, a grandmother's too sick herself to care for a baby. And there's also some cases of, you know, child neglect that, you know, they need a safe home. So we still exist, but in a much smaller scale. And in fact, yeah, we're about to embark on a very important transition that the whole Maisha Matters has shown us. You know, if family is so important, why are we raising children in a baby home? You know, is there a better model? Is there a better way that we could do this? So on the 1st of November, we're transitioning to family-based care. So on our property, we used to have our managers, Lillian and Josephine, lived on the property, as did I. And so they've moved off, and we now have 4 houses which we are currently refurbishing. And on the 1st of November, they'll become family homes. So instead of the children living in the main baby home, they'll live with a mama and an aunt on the premises, but with families of between 6 and 7 children. And yeah, it just means that the goal hasn't changed. Our goal is always still to find a permanent home for these kids. But while they're with us, they will live in a family situation rather than in a baby home. So yeah, we're just about to change on the 1st of November. I'm flying out next week to help with the finalization of that. And that's a really exciting change that's, you know, just been spurred on through the Maisha Matters program, basically. That's we believe in family, and so we should be doing it right now.
I love how it's organically changing and growing, and following and supporting these women and these children for the long term. And you're responsive to their needs. It's just incredible to see what you've achieved in that time. So the very best of luck with the family care units. It sounds really exciting development for you all.
Thank you. Just to answer your question, Michelle, in the chat, are there models we've based the family care approach on? Absolutely. There's, you know, it's definitely the way forward for all ways of caring for vulnerable children is to in a family-based setting. Unfortunately for our situation, not so much, because we're just dealing with babies. So lots and lots of orphanages all over the world, Uganda, Rwanda, you know, Asia, all over the world, they are caring for children in this model. SOS Villages is a huge example of that, which is really successful, and they are worldwide. But they do have a range of age groups. You know, they've got babies right up to 18. So if you've got a family of 7, 8, 9, 10 children, it's a little bit more manageable. We've always been slightly hesitant because we just care for babies. So to have a family of 7 babies is quite a tricky family, but we've decided that it is possible. And yeah, there's no time like now to do it. So they won't be by themselves raising the children. There'll be a mama and an aunt who will be there 24/7 with the babies, but there will also be a couple of people coming in to help with, you know, all the other household chores that you can't really do successfully when you've got 7 babies.
Yeah, it's all this stuff that you don't think about. It's amazing. So congratulations again. And I'm conscious of time. We've got a couple of minutes left. So does anyone have a question from the chat room? I'll have a quick look. And if not, in the meantime, how about we have a chat about next steps? How else can our community support you?
Yeah, I think, and as you say, like, this is such an amazing project, an amazing local team. They've got such traction with the project, they're scaling it, and what they need is just the funding to be able to continue reliably being able to say yes, as Amy so powerfully said earlier, but also not just saying yes to the women that are turning up at the gate, but also the other cities where there aren't teams like this. Well, there are teams there that are ready to go, but they just don't have the funds for it. And so it might seem like it's too big a thing, but every single person that says yes here, as we said, joining that monthly giving community of Forever Projects, we've got a really unique business model where our fundraising costs are covered, so that 100% of every cent we raise through monthly donations can go to the project. Every yes at $100 a month here is a yes next time someone turns up at the gate, and Lillian or Josephine or Hassan or Victoria or Sophia greet them. And so yeah, so I think that's the biggest thing I think to share, is just that you can be part of that in an ongoing way and together do something that alone you couldn't do. And I think also you're all very well connected and know people that would really resonate with this project in an ongoing way. We know that that's true. And like yeah, we believe that people who share a vision, like mission and values aligned, know other people that care about this stuff as well. So we'd love if you know people that would love to get behind this project to continue to accelerate its impact, as you've already done, and would love to continue to do, then yeah, please contact us through either directly or through Karen and the team. Yeah, because we see this as the beginning of a partnership, not the end, that's for sure. Yeah.
Fabulous. Okay, so on that note, Mark, thank you to you and your incredible team, both here in Australia, the UK, Tanzania, for the inspiring work that you do to empower women and these families out of poverty. It is quite incredible and inspiring listening to you tonight. Your story is a powerful one. Their story should be heard. You have given them hope, health, and opportunity. I know that speaking on behalf of all of our members and volunteers at 100 Women, that we are 100% behind your project, and we will continue to share the amazing work that you do in this space. Indeed, the best place for a baby is to be in the home. And because of your passion and community spirit, more than 1,000 babies have this opportunity now. So it's giving at its best. You're creating a groundswell of change, and thank you for sharing your story with us today. So just before I wrap up, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Mel Beamish, our events volunteer, for helping to get this event sorted, and to our marketing volunteers and our grants team for all of their support with these grant recipient stories, and obviously to our members and volunteers for joining us tonight. Don't forget, we have our flagship event, the 100 Women Gala Celebration, coming up in 2 weeks' time. It's on the 28th of October. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, we'd love for you to come and join us. And we're giving away, the most in our history in 1 year. So this is great, super exciting. So Mark, if there's anything you wanted to say before we sign off.
I just wanted to say again, thank you so much for that grant. And yeah, to you and all the members who are showing up generously, not just for this project, but for all of the projects that are included in that $1 million. It's so easy for people to become cynical and just think, what can I do? But your community aren't like that. And yeah, we're very grateful to be connected to you. So thanks so much. And thanks so much for the team in the midst of a big transition, as Amy shared, giving your time and somehow managing all the children and all the things that are happening. Thanks for giving your time and sharing so powerfully of the stories today, everyone.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Asante Sana.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you.